So with this one, we can see that there is a tan line or sunburn line, and we're going to try to fix this. May think, oh, we'll just use the clone stamp tool, but you can run into issues with that. This way is a little bit more mathematical, but I think may yield the best results. So first step, what we need to do is we need to go to Image, Mode, and we're going to change it to Lab Color. This is the very important first step because none of this will work out unless you do this first. So we're going to Lab Color. Nothing's going to change right here, but now what we want to do is we want to click on the Magic Wand tool, which is right here. You'll see the Quick Selection tool, but if you click and hold that down, we're going to go to the Magic Wand. We want our tolerance to be 10, and we want both of these checked, and then Sample All Layers unchecked. We're going to change that. Nope. Point sample is going to be what we're going to use. So what you're going to do first is you're going to click, and then you'll see that it'll select some. We're going to hold shift, and we're going to try to select everything kind of this shape. So once you have that, what we can do now is go back to our fill adjustment layers. We're going to go right here, and we are going to go up to levels. So we can see that by selecting it first, we've already made our layer mask only affect this area. And right up here, we should see a, for our channel, first channel, it'll say lightness. Usually we'd see RGB. But because we changed the lab color, we're going to lightness and channel A and B. So our first step from here is going to be, our next step is going to be going to the eyedropper tool, but we want to click on the color sampler tool. So you're going to click on that, hold it down, should be about the third one down. We're going to click right there. We're going to change this point sample to 5x5 average. And then we want to click once in the redder area and again in the lighter area. And we can see that this info pops up on both, but we need to see both at the same time. So I'm going to recommend that you take out the info. You can put it over here. But that way we can see, because what we're going to do is, if you can see where my cursor is at, we see that on number 2, which is this one, and then number 1, which is our first one, we have LAB, and we have these numbers. So what we're going to do is change our channel to channel A, and we're going to slide the highlight slider all the way over to the left. And hopefully you can see in this area, this number is changing. And we want this number to be 41 because that's what we have in our first point sample. So right now we're at 34. We're going to keep moving until we get to 41. All right. Once we have that, we're going to move over to channel B. And we're going to do the same thing. Usually this one's not quite as big of a shift. So right here, we just need to go 3 numbers over. There we go. And then from here, we're going to go back to the lightness channel. And we're going to adjust our gray tone slider. Now you will see, we can already see a little bit of this edge forming. So if I were to kind of go, we see like it's pretty prominent. That's okay. That will be fixed later on. He has about 0.61. Something that you can do is you want the bottom half to match the top half. It may be hard to notice that because you have this hard edge. But one thing you can do is put your finger over that hard edge and then kind of look at the top and the bottom and see if they both match. Usually about 0.61 seems to be a pretty good number, but that is also dependent on you and what you think. So after that, we are going to go to our brush tool. The info I can put back in this one. I don't think we're going to use that info again. So, and I can hit this double arrow to push that out of my way if I want. So our brush tool, we want it to be a size 15. I'm going to keep 20. 20 should be fine. Opacity, we want to change that to 20%. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of click. Remember, every time you click, it's 20% off. And we're going to try to start to take care of this edge. Now you may see that it just seems like a little bit like too light in that area. Again, that will also be fixed. So from there, what we want to do is we want to grab our lasso brush. I recommend the polygonal lasso for this. That way you don't have to try to free draw it. But the way this works is every time you click with the left mouse click, it puts down a little anchor point, and then you can kind of go around. And when you get back to the end, you see that circle, you click again, and it makes your selection. So what we want to do is we can also zoom in. We can try and go Control plus. And we want to try to not get that shirt. But what we want to do is make a selection in the area around that edge. And then once we have that, we are going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we're going to try to make it about a 4.8 shift or blur just in that area. Kind of fades out that harsh line that we get, but yeah, we still see a little bit of it. But again, don't worry, we will fix that. We can hit Control D to deselect. And then from there, we can actually double click on this and we can be on the lightness channel. We can make any adjustments on our gray slider. If you feel like it needs a little bit more, you can do that. So from here, after you have that, your kind of last step is we need the healing brush tool. So what we're going to do is make a new layer, and we want our healing brush tool. Remember, not the spot healing brush tool. We want the second one down, and we want to make sure it says all layers. Sampled, normal, and size 25 is good. Actually, size 30 is better. So I'm going to hit the right bracket to go up to 30. And then we want to hold Alt, and we're going to click in this area once with the left mouse click. And we're going to sample this area. And what we want to do is we want to just try to add you can always change the area. Now with this one especially, you may notice that it starts to get a little bit weird, maybe when you get closer to the shirt. Again, if that happens, you can try using your the clone stamp tool. But that is pretty much your last step. What you're going to do is you're just going to kind of clean up that edge. And you may notice that it's, so right here we can see we have our before, after, before, after. And then that's pretty much it from